Peace, peace, Black people. Welcome to We Are Our Ancestors, Yemima's World, the Jelly Moose's Cafe. I am your hostess, Yemima. Always good to be Black in the land of the living once again. Beginning of the episode, you heard the wonderful Stevie Wonder paying tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Of course, I do not own the rights to that song. And today is January 15th. Today is actually Dr. King's birthday. We celebrated and honored it on the third Monday in January, but the 15th is actually the day that his queen mother gave birth to him. And so we are grateful for him today. Um, so, of course, I wanted to pay honor to Dr. King. As you see, the title is Martin, the Man, the Mystic. So there have been such controversy surrounding Dr. King from uh, all spectrums. Definitely, the white people always want to quote him because they think he was. Um, they quote him today. They wouldn't have quoted him back then when he was actually in the physical, but they tend to want to quote him. And the only time they want to quote him is when Black History Month or politicians when they feel like they're being um, oppressed and that they're being judged because they're white. So then they want to quote Dr. King, quote about judging his children being judged on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And it's amazing that white people don't quote that when it's black people that are being oppressed because of the color of their skin. Only when white people seem to be judged do they want to pull one of Dr. King's quotes about judging using the content of the character and not the color of the skin. But there are also controversial things being said by Black people. During the time that King was leader of the civil rights movement, a lot of Black churches didn't rock with him. They didn't like what he was preaching. They thought he was bringing too much heat to the churches, and so they didn't rock with him. A lot of them didn't rock with him. Um, a lot of Black people didn't rock with him, period. Not just those that were opposed, not just the churches, but other people. For those of you who don't know, his mother was assassinated in church by a, oh God, I think he was a Muslim, I think, or either a Black Hebrew Israelite. It was something, but she was assassinated in church while she was playing the organ about 6 years after Dr. King was assassinated. And then there was the woman who stabbed him. He was at a book signing, and a woman came up to him and stabbed him in the chest. Had she stabbed him 2 inches more to the left, she would have punctured his heart. She did puncture one of his lungs. And as she stabbed him and was being taken out of the book signing, she was yelling that he was a communist. So a lot of Black people thought he was a communist and they didn't rock with him. So what I have seen lately, and what brought me to this is yesterday I ran across a video on YouTube. And the video, I can't even remember who it was. It was a white preacher. And he was talking about Dr. King very negatively. He was saying that Dr. King was not really a Christian, that he was a heretic, and he was not really a Christian. And I cannot tell you how many African Americans agreed with this man. there were quite a few comments that, yeah, my daddy didn't like Dr. King, and he always said that he won't no Christian, or he never preached about Jesus. He always he was out preaching about liberty and this and the other. He never preached about Jesus. And my thought was, how many of you have actually heard any of Dr. King's sermons? Because he wasn't preaching when he was at the rallies, when he was leading marches. He wasn't preaching. He was an orator, and he was speaking truth to power. So, how many actual sermons have these people who claim that he never preached about Jesus, that he wasn't a real Christian? How many of his sermons have you actually heard? How many of his speeches have you actually read, or sermons have you actually read? I'm going to go with probably none. For you to say that he never spoke about Jesus. So I'm going to dissect those things for you. Dr. King had some different views about Christianity. Now, those of you that are Black, and even white people that are Christians, you know that every Christian does not have the same view or does not interpret scripture the same way. If they did, we would not have 1,000 different branches of Christianity. Everyone would have the same denomination. But because we have 1,000 denominations of Christianity, not everyone is going to think the same way. I went to a Baptist church. You didn't speak in tongues in that church. Pastor basically said, if I catch you speaking in tongues, you're out of here. Holiness churches speak in tongues. To holiness people, that is the evidence of the Holy Spirit. Not to Baptists, it ain't. Jehovah Witnesses are Christians. It's a branch of Christianity. Yet they do a whole bunch of stuff that other Christians don't do, or I should say, don't do a lot of things that other Christians do. They believe that only Jehovah Witnesses are going to be in the 144,000 that's mentioned in Revelation. They believe that the Sabbath is on Saturday, not Sunday. They don't worship on Sunday, they worship on Saturday. Same with the Mormons. So Dr. King's view of Christianity may have been different. He viewed the resurrection of Christ more of a spiritual resurrection than a physical resurrection. Now, these things he wrote a paper about when he was in theology school, and he was a younger version of himself. I don't know if his views changed or not. I have read where people are saying that he never retracted statements that he made about the resurrection being a spiritual one and not a physical one. He did not believe in the divinity of Jesus. He didn't believe that he was fully human and fully divine at the same time. Again, these are remarks that he made at a very early age, a very young age. Um, he preached more so liberation theology. He believed that Jesus was sent by God to liberate people in social injustices. Um, and so there are so many people now that's just saying that, oh God, he wasn't really a Christian, and we shouldn't be honoring him, and he shouldn't have a birthday celebration. We shouldn't be honoring his birthday because he wasn't a Christian. Now, people, Black people, lean in close, cut the TV off, and listen real good to me. As my mama would say, listen real good. We're not honoring him because he's a Christian. We're honoring him for the work that he did in the civil rights movement. Because we were honoring him just because he was a Christian and because he was a pastor. Do you know how many preachers and pastors we would have to give a birthday celebration to and have a holiday? Do you think that they're giving him or they gave him a holiday because he was a Christian preacher? Seriously, people, my God, you cannot be that ill informed. You cannot be that unlearned in 2025. You cannot. We are not honoring him because of his religion. We're honoring him for the work that he did in the civil rights movement, the same reason that we honor Malcolm X. We're not honoring him because he was a Muslim. We're honoring him because of his work that he did in the civil rights movement. All of the people that we honor for the work that they did to uplift Black people, none of them we honor because of their religion. And Dr. King didn't preach, again, he didn't preach at the rallies. He spoke truth to power and truth to liberation. His mentor was a man named, oh my God, his last name is Thurman. And I can't, Howard Thurman. Howard Thurman was born in Florida. He was raised by his grandmother, who was a former enslaved woman. Howard Thurman is said to have been a mystic. His preaching style, again, was more about liberation and liberating Black people. He often spent time in nature and in meditation so that he could bring the word to his people about liberation. And he was a mentor to Martin. Martin followed him closely. Martin also followed Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was also a mystic. He wasn't a Christian. Now, unfortunately, because during Martin's time, Dr. King's time, we didn't have access to internet. So Dr. King did not know that Mahatma Gandhi also had raid to the cis views of Africans. But Martin had different views on Christianity. He taught liberation theology. And a lot of Black Christians just cannot get with that. They are so afraid of preaching uh, uh, anything except Jesus will do it for you. Jesus gonna make it all right. Just pray to Jesus and He'll do it. You miss the whole freedom fighting of Jesus. You miss the whole thing about Jesus liberating His people. You miss all of that. If all you're listening for is how is Jesus going to pay my light bill, or how is Jesus going to bring me a husband or bring me a wife, if that's all you're looking to Jesus for, then you've totally missed the entire message of Jesus, because his message was truly liberation. And Martin followed that. Now, I did also, and you can find the clip in my episodes. I don't remember the title of the episode, but it's a short video where someone did a short video that Martin also carried a mojo bag. It's supposed to have been referenced to in Katrina uh, Hazard's book Mojo Working, and I have the book, and I'm trying to find the quote that alludes to him being carrying a mojo bag. But if you think about it, again, Martin grew up in the 40s and 50s in the South. His great grandfather was a minister on the plantation. And at the time on the plantation, ministers were also prophets and seers and priests. And they were the people that you would go to for mojo bags, for medicine bags, for to read bones and to cast lots and those things like that. Those ministers that they had preaching to the enslaved on Sunday morning about slaves obey your master and all that stuff. But trust and believe on Sunday night, they were casting lots. They were meeting at the cemetery. They were making medicine out of herbs. And we tend to forget that those things were passed down from generation to generation to generation. It didn't miss Martin. It didn't miss him. But you can rest assured, you can unclutch your pearls. Martin was a Christian. He just had a different view, or he interpreted the Bible differently from a lot of you, which every single branch of Christianity does. I remember hearing um, Malcolm X say one time that the media will have you hating someone you should revere and respect, and respecting someone you should hate or not follow. And all it takes is for somebody who has a very light complexion and just has no melanin whatsoever say something, and black people will fall in line real quick, fast, and in a hurry. We are the only people that does that. You will never see, no matter how bad white people are, other white people are on code. They don't say nothing. They don't say nothing. You will never hear a white person say anything bad about George Washington. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Even though he enslaved 400 plus Africans, between him and his old ball of chain, Martha, they'll never say anything bad about him. You will never hear white people say anything bad about Thomas Jefferson, even though he SA'd Sally Hemings over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You will never hear white people say anything but said he was a great president. That's what you will hear. But black people, we will tear down our leaders quick, fast, and in a hurry. And all it takes is for one of them to say one thing, and some black people will fall in line. One last thing. On April 3rd, 1968, the night before Dr. King was assassinated, he spoke at Bishop Charles H. Mason's Kojic Church in Memphis, Tennessee. It was the night before the sanitation worker strike. And that is where he gave his famous speech, Been to the Mountaintop. A lot of people don't know that. They know the name of the speech, they don't know the context of the speech, they don't know where it was. Now, for those of you who've been following my channel and know who I am and also practice the same thing, we all know that Bishop Charles H. Mason was a hoodoo practitioner and a conjureman and a root worker. And Dr. King spoke at his church. The last church that he spoke at was a Kojic church, church of the man who created and founded Kojic. So Martin was a pastor, a minister of the gospel, his interpretation, a son, a brother, a husband, a father, and one of the greatest leaders of the civil rights movement. I've heard people say, oh, he wasn't that great, he didn't do anything. Dr. King went to jail 39 times. When he was assassinated, he was 39 years old. That means he went to jail for a year for each year of his life, he went to jail. I don't know of any other civil rights leaders that were in jail incarcerated that many times. He put his life on the line and his family's life on the line every single day. And for those that complain about how he maneuvered and moved through things to get things done for the civil rights movement, if you think you can do better, then I challenge you to do so. But since we have not had a civil rights leader the magnitude of Malcolm X and Dr. King, I'm going to say that you really can't do any better. You're just selling wolf tickets. So I honor you and I salute you today, Dr. King. Happy birthday. Happy heavenly birthday. May we continue to honor your memory. May it always be for a blessing. We thank you for your service. And you know the drill. Honor you. Honor yourself. Honor your ancestors. They will honor you. Love yourself. Love each other. Give yourself some grace. Give each other some grace. We are our ancestors. And until next time, peace.